gentlemen, to welcome you all to this OISCA Global Summit 2024 on natural environment and climate sustainability here at the Indian Institute of Management, Kozhikode. Today, we gather under the vital theme of climate resilience, integrating sustainability and biodiversity for a thriving planet. The Organization for Industrial, Spiritual and Cultural Advancement, OISCA International, was established in Tokyo, Japan in 1961 by former President Dr. Yorisuke Nakano. OISCA is a non-governmental organization that promotes agriculture, primary industries and cultural diversity. In more than 60 years, the organization has established more than 20 training centers, 31 chapters and several collaboration projects in 41 countries. Inspired by the activities of OISCA International, Japan, in a conference in Dhaka, Bangladesh, in the year 1984, Mr. M. Arvind Babu, the President Deputy Secretary General, OISCA International, and founder director of OISCA South India, started the first chapter in Calicut, Kerala, India on 27 June 1985. The South Indians started the first chapter in Calicut. The South India chapter has emerged as a vibrant organization, implementing many successful socio-economic and environmental programs through its 107 chapters and over 5,000 dedicated members spread across the southern states of India. OISCA South India is actively involved in many programs, especially in Kerala state, and their immense contribution to collaboration stands recognized and solicited by the government of Kerala. As we embark on this important journey together, I would like to make a moment of acknowledge the collaborative efforts that have brought us to this pivotal event. This summit is organized by OISCA International South India Chapter in association with IIM Kozhikode and is generally supported by Vishwa Yuva Kendra and Calicut Management Association. As we engage in discussion and share our experience today, let us remember the urgency of our mission. Climate change is not just an environmental issue, it is an existential one. The integration of sustainability and biodiversity is crucial for fostering resilience in our ecosystems, our economies and our communities. Our theme today highlights the intricate relationship between our natural environment and our collective future, which has become the theme for all the international and national discussions of present times. Biodiversity is the foundation of ecosystem services, providing us with food, clean water and air. By protecting these natural resources, we not only ensure the survival of countless species, but also secure the well-being of future generations. This summit serves as a platform for knowledge exchange and collaboration. Let us share our successes, our challenges and our visions. Together we can devise innovative strategies that promote sustainable practices while honoring our biodiversity. It's a long time. We are privileged to have with us several distinguished guests who will share their insights and expertise today. I extend a warm welcome to our Chief Guest, Honorable Justice Mr. Devan Ramachandran of High Court of Kerala, whose commitment to justice and sustainability is very strong. We are also honored to have Dr. Devasis Chatterjee, the Director of IIM Kozhikode, who will deliver the presidential address. Dr. Chatterjee's vision for integrating management practices with sustainability is a beacon of hope in our collective mission. Additionally, we will hear from Ms. Tetsuko Nakano, the President of OISCA International, Japan, who will offer an benevolent address. Her dedication to environmental causes on a global scale is commendable and vital to our discussions today. We are further raised by the presence of Mr. K. Jayakumar IAS, the founder President of OISCA South India, who will deliver the keynote address. His leadership and vision have been instrumental in driving sustainable initiatives across the region. I would also like to recognize our esteemed guests of honor, Mr. Yasuki Nareshi, Vice President of OISCA International, Mr. Fumio Kitsugi, Secretary General of OISCA International, Professor K. Jayakumar, K.V. Jayakumar from IIT Dharwad, Mr. L. Radhakrishnan IAS, former President of OISCA South India Chapter, Dr. Manoj Patel, Director CWR DM Kozhikode, Dr. Uday Shankar Singh, CEO, Vishwa Yuva Kendra, New Delhi, Dr. N. Krishnamar, IFS Secretary, former President and Chairman of OISCA South India Chapter, Ms. Ritu Prasad, Director OISCA North India, Mr. Anantamani, Mr. Chairman, Organizing Committee, P.V. Anup Kumar, General Convener, Organizing Committee, and our former President of South India, Sri K.P. Abubakar. I would also like to extend a warm welcome to the dignitaries from Japan, Nepal, UAE, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Taiwan, and our own country. Your presence and contributions to this summit signify the importance of collaboration in tackling our climate change. In closing, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all of you for being here and for your commitment to this critical cause. Let's make the most of this summit inspired by the shared goal of nurturing our planet for generations to come. I welcome all those who are present here to attend this valuable summit. Thank you. And let us begin our program.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Next, I would call upon K.P. Chandrasekharan, former Vice President, OISCA South India Chapter, to honor our Chief Guest, Mr. Justice Devan Ramachandran. Etsuko Nakano will be honored by Mrs. Fauziya Mubarak, Secretary, South India Chapter. Mr. K. Jayakumar will be honored by Advocate Salahuddin. Mr. Kitsugi Fumio, Secretary General of OISCA International, will be honored by Mrs. Sina Vijay, the President of Calicut Women's Chapter. The Vice President of OISCA, Yashwini Nagaishi, will be honored by Advocate Thomas Matthew. Thank you all. This inaugural session is being presided over by Dr. Devasis Chatterjee, Director of IIMK, the person who has been instrumental in joining hands with OISCA for the conduct of the summit. Please welcome renowned author and professor who has taught leadership classes at Harvard University and the Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta, Lucknow and Kozhikode for nearly 2 decades. Please welcome Dr. Devasis Chatterjee, Director of IIM Kozhikode for the presidential address.
Esteemed Justice Shri Devan Ramachandran, Mr. K.P. Chandran, distinguished guests, OISCA International President Ms. Etsuko Nakano, Vice President Mr. Secretary General Fumio, Founder President OISCA South India Mr. K. Jayakumar, Mr. Arvind Babu, and other honorable dignitaries whose names I have missed out. So forgive me for this, and very distinguished participants, dignitaries and students who have gathered here. It is an honor and a privilege for the Indian Institute of Management, Kozhikode, to host this illustrious gathering of the OISCA International Global Summit on Environment and Climate Sustainability. Welcome to God's own campus. We have a new name for God here, and it is called Indochi Kagake Universe. A new God is called the Universe, Sustainable Universe. On this occasion, I am reminded of an expression from the Indian classical tradition, from the Isa Upanishad. The expression is Tena Tyaktena Punjita. The resorts to be exploited, it's a web of relationships, a faceless yet interdependent intelligence. They were scientists and mystics at the same time, recognizing that every cause has an effect and every effect has a cause. When they saw smoke, they understood the cause must be fire. And then they said, there are root causes that produce million effects. A seed producing a forest. And then they recognized that if you take away the ultimate cause, nothing of the effect remains. Like nothing of the waves remain when the ocean is taken away. And then they found out that there is a point in time when cause and effect becomes one. And they called it Ishvara. Ish means ruler, Vara means nature. The one who rules nature is that cause and effect becomes one. The unity of intelligence that they were talking about thousands of years back is coming back with the seventh potency. So I don't mind OISCA calling it a spiritual organization. It ought to be a spiritual organization to survive. So a single seed can give birth to an entire forest, but what happens when you destroy that root cause? You lose everything, like waves that vanish when the ocean dries up. Today we stand at a crossroad. The next 20 or 30 years will decide everything. Will we continue down the path of destruction, pretending that business as usual can save us, or will we wake up finally to the truth that our ancestors have that our actions and what the ancestors have predicted will have consequences and terminal consequences? Climate change, biodiversity loss, ecosystem collapse. These aren't just academic topics for a conference. They are the cries of a dying world asking us, if we will be brave enough to change course, the solution will not come from isolated efforts, but from integrated strategies that go beyond borders, beyond industries, beyond mere talk. So I ask you in the audience, what will we leave behind? A planet that can still sustain life, or a wasteland of our own making? The choice is ours, the time is now, and there is no excuse left for inaction. The Global Summit resonates deeply with our core values and aligns with the principles of IIM that this institution stands for. Satyam, truth, Nityam, sustainability, and Purnam, wholeness. These guiding principles remind us of our duty to foster a deeper understanding and commitment to environmental stewardship. At IIM sustainability is woven into the very fabric of our campus and community. As custodians of this remarkable institution, we have a Center of Excellence in Climate Studies, tasked not only with scholarly pursuits but with translating research and innovation into actionable impact. The Center recently mapped IIM campus as an ecosystem in itself. We are proud to be a water-sufficient campus sustained by extensive rainwater harvesting system that not only meets our own needs but also contributes positively to our surroundings. Our solar power generation initiatives enable us to return clean energy to the grid, making us self-reliant and minimize our carbon footprint. Furthermore, our commitment to being plastic-free ensures that our students, faculty and staff cultivate habits and systems that promote long-term environmental welfare. Our biodiversity survey discovered over 650 species of plants, animals, flora and fauna thriving on our campus, underscoring the diversity and resilience of this land we are fortunate to call home. IIM's Forum for Living Rights goes a step further by advocating the protection of all living beings on campus, embracing an ethos of respect and coexistence that we consider essential to environmental sustainability. As we discuss environmental and climate sustainability today, let us reflect on the importance of aligning our actions with natural rhythms and processes of the universe. The principle of Nityam is our institutional value, that is the foundation of our unyielding pursuit of sustainability. In every project, policy and practice, IIM seeks to balance progress with preservation, growth with gratitude, human aspiration with ecological harmony. Non-governmental organizations like OISCA play a crucial role in advancing the dialogue on environment and climate sustainability by bridging communities, governments and educational institutions in collaborative efforts. OISCA's grassroots initiative, cross-cultural outreach and advocacy can amplify the urgency of climate action and inspire sustainable practice across diverse sectors. Partnering with such organizations allows institutions such as IIM to extend their impact Together we foster real-world environmental solutions, ultimately helping build a global culture committed to sustainable living and ecological integrity. OISCA's mission is to influence policy and impact practice in the corporate world. We are seeing the decoupling of economy and ecology that were decoupled for 300 years, leading to natural disasters. McDonald's is advertising its supply chain rather than hamburgers. IKEA and P&G have gotten into research alliance to cut down cotton usage, a water-intensive crop. Wasted food emitting greenhouse gases is one of the major threats to our sustainability. Finland is aiming for a zero-waste economy by 2050. Japan, a manufacturing giant, is now the world's most successful circular economy. We have friends from Taiwan, we have friends from Sri Lanka, diverse part of the world. They're all integrating their efforts towards a sustainable world. We also have a lot of learning from a country like Japan, which has risen in the world order despite the innumerable man-made and natural challenges it has faced over the last century, and is a shining beacon of overcoming adversity and finding sustainable solutions to counter the march of time. I was visiting a small town called Kochi, incidentally, another Kochi in Japan. This is a prefecture in Japan. I heard that post-tsunami experience, the Japanese have found a way to rescue the elderly population within 13 minutes of a tsunami warning by putting them inside what looks like a submarine. This is mind-boggling. This is in Japan country. Today, please applaud for Japan. Some of you are trying to do that. Today is also a day when we can commit ourselves to empowering communities with the tools and knowledge to manage their natural resources sustainably. This will foster a sense of ownership and long-term commitment to the conservation and restoration efforts. The Wayanad landslide disaster that shocked the world a few months back was not very far from where we sit right now. Wake-up calls like these should speed up our quest for finding the right balance between ecology and economy. This summit is a testament to the shared belief that our natural world is not only to be admired and protected, but a belief that transcends borders, cultures, and languages. To that end, OISCA stands ready to learn from and contribute to global dialogues on sustainability and environmental ethics, and to support OISCA's vision in bringing about a greater healthier future. In closing, I wish all participants success in their endeavors here, and I encourage all of you to explore meaningful collaborations, innovative solutions, and sustainable strategies. Let us join hands to make sustainability not just a goal or a way of life. Let us honor truth, continuity, and wholeness, Satyam, Nityam, Purnam, of this magnificent universe that sustains us all. I thus end on a note with the words of the farmer philosopher of Japan, Masaru Fukuoka. The mountains, rivers, grasses, and trees are all Buddha. Nature is something beyond human invention and must be revered. With an intelligence beyond human intervention, this planet will survive. We know it will survive somehow because there is a bigger intelligence than the one that humans are capable of. The question is whether we will be here to witness the survival of the planet. With that, I say thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable words. Before we move on to the formal inauguration of the summit, we would like to know more about the Global Summit in general. For this, we call upon the chairman of the organizing committee of the Global Summit, Mr. Anand Mani, for the introductory address. Sir, please.
Chief guest of this session, respected Honorable Justice Sri Devan Ramachandran, Dr. Devashish Chatterjee, Director, IAM Kozhikode, Ms. Itsuko Nagonu, President, OISCA International, Mr. K. Jayaguma, former Chief Secretary and founder President of OISCA South India, Mr. K. K. Chandran, Present President, OISCA South India, Mr. Arvind Babu, Secretary General, OISCA International, other important dignitaries sitting in the front row, others on the dais and off the dais, registered delegates, students, and all others gathered out over here. It's a pleasure and delight to stand here as chairman of the organizing committee of this global summit of OISCA, and that too in this prestigious, sprawling IIM Serenic campus. First things first, I would like to express my gratitude to Devashish sir for the opportunity you have given to host this global summit here. Friends, right from the day when we approached him, he treated this summit as a privilege to host the summit with due importance, kept talking to us frequently, guiding us and thus reassuring us to plan and conduct this summit in a very structured and professional manner, what you are seeing today. And profuse thanks for the association of IIM Kozhikode in this global summit. A big word of thanks should equally be mentioned to Sojan, my good friend, and his entire team for effectively supporting us throughout, right from the day and now also, for the smooth, flawless execution of this entire activity. Thank you, Sojan. The theme of this global summit, as mentioned here, is natural environment and climate sustainability. This summit is the first of its kind with a rarity and also a rarest of the rare event in the history of Calicut. The summit promises to be exceptional because of the strength of the speakers, its content, and most importantly, the crowded audience gathered out over here who are driven into this hall by the curiosity about the theme and the takeaways the summit would offer them. As mentioned, my role is to give you a thumbs up regarding the flow of the events, which is as follows. In the same hall, after this inaugural session, we are going to have a presentation session on various topics that matter to us with perspectives of the theme, in which former Home Secretary Mr. Radhakrishnan, retired IAS, the Director of CWRD, and many other few important dignitaries are going to talk. And after that, we have parallel sessions which aligns well with the theme, with the perspectives of the theme, which are the Youth Convention in the hall number 1, Children's Convention in hall number 2, Leaders Meet in Gurukul Hall, Alumni Convention, followed by the closing ceremony and cultural programs. As we know, the prime emphasis of the activities of OISCA, apart from imparting knowledge, is to create awareness in the key areas of environmental protection and youth empowerment activities for the students. Is essential and the need of the day in need to work better, as mentioned by the director, than what is existing to develop this planet to be a finest place to live and work. Climate-centric social entrepreneurship is of utmost importance and should be our priority. As we are moving closer towards our vision of creating a better everyday life for the people, we need to undo the damages done, and hence we need to reimagine, recreate and restore. The objective for this, what I feel, should be twofold: a cleaner world and a safe world. And for this, we need to have acceleration in certain aspects. And the fundamental requirement, what I feel, is that a better waste management system for clean air and clean environment so as to recreate a cleaner world. A safe world, safe to eat food, safe to drink water, safety from disasters so as to achieve climate sustainability. We need to change, and the change should start with each one of us, with best practices, social responsibility, adaptability, eco-friendliness and friendly policies, and transparency. Thank you all for being part of this global summit. We look forward for the interesting deliberations and interactions which is going to happen down the line. Let's all hope for a better world. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for letting us know more about the Global Summit. Now we move on to the formal inauguration of the Global Summit. We have as the chief guest a person with a golden heart, touching the issues of common man and known for very bold statements and important judgments. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Honorable Mr. Justice Devan Ramachandran, Judge High Court of Kerala. May we request Honorable Justice to please inaugurate the summit by lighting the lamp. Would request all other dignitaries of the dais to join. Thank you all. Let us now hear the inauguration speech from the chief guest.
President of the meeting, Professor Chatterjee, my friends on the dais, friends in the audience, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great privilege here because this is the first time I am here at the IIM Kozhikode. Professor Chatterjee has been inviting me, but then I've never had the opportunity. And for this, I must thank my friend, my very dear friend, Advocate Salahuddin, who really prevailed upon me. This was the kind of persuasion that a judge can't say no to from a lawyer. No, he does argue very persuasively, so he did that very well, and I am here. When I was invited, I did not know the scale of the program, but this is scintillating, absolutely scintillating. I'm so glad I'm here. I must also say that you can't have a conference with this theme except in a campus which is so verdant and so beautiful. This is really befitting. The thought that we're going to have today is really befitting the campus, or it's the other way around. The campus befits all of us today. And looking at the campus, you understand why it was chosen for a topic of this nature. There's no doubt about it. And I'll come to that in a very, very short while. But before that, thank you, sir, for all the, in lawyers' words, we use these grandiose kind of language. We say thank you for the hyperbolic encomium you embellished on me. But the fact remains, thank you for the lies you spoke of me. Now, I am just trying to make it less pedantic and academic because I don't think it's really worth it. So these are things, what we are discussing here today are not things that we are not aware of. We are fully aware of what we are facing. We are fully aware where our world is going. We know about the nature. We know everything. It is just that our perceptions, the way we think, are something that has been so inveterate that we are unable to change or to even think of changing. This is the problem. Now, as a lawyer, I'll tell you something. Every law that human beings have made for themselves is called anthropocentric, which means human-centric. Now the problem is we have always thought nature to be something that exists for us, and therefore we have thought that when we do something for the nature, we do it for it, not for us. Because all the laws have been human-centric. It's called anthropocentric, as I said. But there is a gradual shift, which is actually now paradigm. There has been a gradual shift, but in the last few years, it has been a real paradigm shift. Now it is more eco-centric. It is more centric to the nature. We realize that we are not really the masters of the universe or the nature. We realize that we are simply components of this nature, just as any other component. We have this portion of our brain, which makes us different from the other living beings. We become rational thinkers, but then, have we really behaved in that fashion in the last few years or last few centuries is something that we have to ask ourselves. Now as lawyers, as I'm sure there are several lawyers here, particularly those who practice the constitutional law, what we call the writ petitions and all that, where we project public causes and other causes, fundamental rights and all those. There has been a complete difference in the manner in which the courts are now viewing all this. And I can say that because I have been a lawyer for 34 years now, with 26 and a half on the, as a practicing counsel, and more than 8 years on the bench now. Now when we started off, when we projected a developmental project, as we call it, it's called a developmental project. It was development from the angle of the humans. It was simply human-centric development. So I say that I want to make a construction. Now I say that this is development because it adds to the city, it adds to the facade of the urban living. And then everything else fell into that particular groove to verify whether that development would be more, better for the human. And the questions of nature was something that was really subservient. So the way we used to do about 15, 20 years ago when I started my career, I said in 1991 or so, it would be that you think about a development project from the angle whether it causes a large amount of natural depredation. But then, when you wait and you understand that the human benefit that you gain out of it is more than even the depredation to the nature, you tended to allow it. So the balance was set in that line that you verified whether the depredation had a lesser impact on the human development or the perceived human development, and then allowed it because we thought that humans were more important than nature. Now there is a complete paradigm shift. We understand that when we talk about sustainability of nature, when we talk about protection of nature, we are talking about our own protection, our own existential protection. We now realize that we will not be in this world if we do not preserve what we have received as living beings on this earth. Now this is the shift that we are now seeing. Somebody was talking, one of the speakers, I think he made the setting for the conference. We talk about waste generation. It's a very simple thing. I see a lot of children sitting here, youngsters sitting here. I believe that I'm speaking to them as somebody who has lived his life in the last generation. You are the present generation. So I'm speaking to you as a generation who has already inherited this space already. Now, when we talk about waste generation, we expect our waste and garbage to be dealt with by somebody else. This is the problem that you normally face in any community living now. You expect the corporations or the municipalities or the panchayats to deal with the garbage that you create, but without any thought to the manner in which you do that. Suppose you are able to control the garbage generation at the source. Suppose you are able to make it as zero as possible. Don't you think there would be a change? We stop using plastics. What happens? And I'm speaking this for a purpose. Stephen Hawking, I'm sure you all heard him. He famously said, in 500 years the world will implode because we are using the resources so rapidly that its temperature will rise to such level that the earth will simply implode. Now this is not something that is grandiose. I'll tell you why. Studies have said every rise of 1/10 of a degree Celsius will make it difficult for us to live in this world. And if the temperature goes up by 1.5 degrees from what you see now, This will be a totally different living atmosphere, something which we are not used to, something which we are not aware of, something which we will have to experiment with. Just imagine where we are going. 1.5 degree Celsius increase will make the world something completely different from all of you have seen until now. We have no idea whether we will be able to fathom that. We have no idea whether we will be able to surmount that. But we are still moving on to that level. So as I said, every 1/10 of a degree causes a problem. And 1.5 degrees is virtually cataclysmic. This is what we are looking at. We are on the precipice of something that is so grave. This is why the thought of nature being at the top is something that humans are now forced to understand. Earlier when we used to talk about nature, it used to be very condescending. As if we are doing something for the nature, it is something that we do benefit to the nature. Not really at all. Think about it. It is for us. It is for the living beings on the earth that we talk about nature these days. So that is the paradigm shift that I was saying. And for the youngsters, I must tell you one more thing. Please see if you have devices, you can simply search and find out. Every ocean bed in this world is now full of plastics. There is not one ocean in this world which does not have plastics as its ocean bed now. Now the time has now risen for us to realize what we are doing to ourselves. I've been asked when I spoke over this, in fact, the judiciary is also thinking about it very seriously. We have something called the National Judicial Academy at Bhopal, which has a campus which is as impressive as this. We have Professor Chatterjee was saying this is 100 acres. I think we have something like that in Bhopal. It's beautiful, it's very verdant. So the last session which I spoke was also with respect to the shift in the way judiciary was looking at the approach to nature. And I'll tell you, this has been a constant approach now, and Indian judiciary is really evolving. But then, I was asked a question by a very young judge. That lady asked me, what about the wars that you see around the world? I had no answer really. When you are talking about climate sustainability and natural resources, benefits and all that, we also see wars happening with bombardment being done, drones being used to destroy, bombs being showered. What would be the impact? I remember the famous Martin Luther King quotation. They said, injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. Destruction anywhere is destruction everywhere. Because human beings cannot live in a world which survives in one part and does not survive in the other. We have to have the whole. So this is where this particular concept of the conference makes it very, very dear to my heart. And this is one reason why, after a lot of persuasion, when Salahuddin used to visit my chambers, I think every 3 days, he must have visited me at least 4 or 5 times for this. So then I saw finally what your organization was, and I must start with an apology. I did not know about your organization until I was invited to speak here. But this is a remarkable kind of a cooperation, India-Japan. And Japan again, I visited Japan only once, but then I'm mesmerized the way they have taken up on themselves, the way they deal with their issues. And we can also give them a lot of lessons because we are the most resilient, perhaps next to very few countries in the world. We are a very, very resilient kind of a community. But there are some things that we perhaps do not reflect and think about on a regular basis. This conference must be that which gives you that opportunity to think, to reflect, and to remind ourselves where we are going. Question will arise, what can I do once alone? Every one of us can make a change. There's one little girl in Sweden who made a change. You can make a change, why not? Every one of us can. On my part, as a small component to it, I had the benefit or I had the pleasure of authoring a judgment where we banned plastic in Sabrimala and Kerala. So there's a small thing that we went forward. But then it has given us some benefit. People who go to the Sabrimala will realize that small order of ours really made a big difference in the foothills because it is a tiger reserve. They are also living beings as we are. We decide that they are less, but they are not. We decide that we are superior, we are not. We are as superior or as inferior as any other in the world. It could be from the smallest of the leaves to the biggest of the mightiest of the stars. We are just part of the same component. And we are not talking about the world as a planet alone. We are talking about the universe as a whole. With all these space explorations happening, you understand that we are just a speck in the entire grand scheme, what we call the universe. Without this, there is nothing. Without what we perceive to be our small Earth, we are nowhere. The plans to live in Mars may or may not happen. We do not know. Why think about it when we can live in Earth? Make a small change. I read somewhere the concept was when Earth becomes unlivable, we should be accommodated in Mars or other planets. I was wondering, why should Earth become unlivable? Why should that's right. We'll go there and destroy that also. So we colonize it and destroy it and then think about Pluto, whatever. So I was just thinking, why should we think about destroying our Earth? Why don't we think about saving ourselves? It is not the Earth that is the focus. It is us which is the focus. It is us in all its manifestations. Professor Chatterjee was talking about the Indian ethos. We talk about having, we recognize having more than 3.5 crores or whatever gods that we revere. But look at it very closely. What are the gods that we are revering? Fire is a god, air is a god, earth is a god, every living animal is a god, plant is a god, leaf is a god, everything is a god. Because our forefathers had the foresight to understand that everything that we see around you are bigger than you are. You worship everything around you. This is the Indian ethos, and this is what I wanted to tell my friends from Japan. I must also tell them that lighting of the lamp has a greater connotation. Asatoma Satgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityoma Amritangamaya. I spoke of this in a hospital in Kochi, it's the Rishi Hospital, where they were inaugurating the TAVI. I was invited to inaugurate the transaortic valve implant clinic. There was a doctor from Israel, Dr. Han, I don't know his first name, I don't remember it. He's supposed to be a wizard in TAVI. He was mesmerized when we started the event with the lighting of the lamp. So I said the same thing. I said, this is the mantra. And I said, this means, oh, lead us from deceit to truth, from darkness to light, and from death to immortality. Immortality not of the physical body, immortality of our thoughts and our conscience. He was so impressed, he said, I'm going to take this back to my country. And I'm going to start the next session with the lamp lighting. I thought this is possibly an invitation for you to do that also. This is one of the greatest of the symbolism that you can have, where we revere fire as a god, every energy around you as Ishwar, as Professor Chatterjee was saying. Thank you for giving me this time, and I'm sorry if I've taken more than what was allotted to me. I forgot to ask what was the time that was given to me. But it's been a great privilege and it's been a great pleasure. I hope that one of the primary getaway from this, or takeaway from this conference, would be that we are nothing. We are just part of the greater world or the greater thing, which we now call the greater jurisprudence, the earth jurisprudence. I hope the conference will be able to reflect more on the jurisprudence we call the greater or the earth's jurisprudence. This is possibly something that we can think about. The speakers who are to come next will certainly reflect upon it. Thank you for this time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable words and for doing the honors. Following the footsteps of illustrious OISCA President Dr. Nakano Yonosuke and Dr. Nakano Yoshiko, Ms. Etsuko Nakano has been taking forward the organization to greater heights. Let us please welcome the President of OISCA.
Hello everyone.
本日はここインドにおいて2024オイスカグローバルサミットが多くのご来賓の皆様のご出席を賜り、このように盛大に開催されますことを心よりお祝い申し上げます。
Congratulations on the 2024 OISCA Global Summit in India. I sincerely appreciate the efforts of OISCA South India in organizing this event and bringing us all together.
またこの素晴らしい会場を提供し、準備等尽力してくださった皆様にも心より御礼申し上げたいと思います。
I also want to express my sincere appreciation to those who provided us this wonderful venue for us to gather together. Thank you very much.
最初にオイスカとしてではなく、一人の日本人としてインドの皆様方に一言御礼申し上げたいと思います。
I want to express my appreciation and just say a few words to extend my appreciation as a Japanese to Indian people.
それは1949年インドが独立して間がない頃です。日本も二次世界大戦によって全国が焦土と化して大変な時でした。
In 1949, right after independence of India, Japan was devastated by World War II.
生きていくのにも精一杯で楽しみも何もない時のことです。日本の子どもたちは動物園へ行っても象がいません。ですから本物の象が見たいと多くの子どもたちがネール首相に手紙を書きました。
It was really hard time for all people in Japan, including children. Japanese children went to zoo in Tokyo, and there's no elephants in the zoo, so they wanted to see elephants. Wrote a letter to Prime Minister Nehru to ask for a donation of elephants to the zoo in Japan.
それを読まれたネール首相は戦争で傷ついた子どもたちの心を慰めてやりたい、励ましてやりたいと手を尽くして1949年9月インディラと名付けられた像が上野動物園へ送られてきました。
After receiving the letter from the children of Japan, Prime Minister Nehru searched for elephants in India and sent one elephant named Indira to Japan for the children of Japan.
その年は年末までに100万人以上の人々が動物園を訪れたそうです。インドの皆様方の温かい思いやりの心に接して、それを励みに大人も子供も戦争の焼け跡から立ち上がる勇気をいただいたと聞いております。
It was September in 1949, and before the end of the year, more than 1 million people visited Ueno in Tokyo to see India donated by your country.
インドも独立して間がない大変な時に優しく手を差し伸べてくださった皆様方にこの場をお借りして御礼申し上げたいと思います。本当にありがとうございました。
So Indian people must have a hard time because of the right after independence, but your kindness and generosity warmed the heart of Japanese people. I take this opportunity to extend my heartfelt appreciation to you.
本当にOISCAはすべての人々がさまざまな違いを乗り越えて共存し、地球上のあらゆる生命の基盤を守り育てようとする世界の構築を目指し、精神と物質が車の両輪のごとく調和した世の中でなければ真の幸せはないとの信念で1961年に中野与之助王に提唱によって設立されました。
OISCA has very aimed to live the world where all people coexist, overcoming their differences while protecting and fostering the foundation of all life forms. It was founded in 1961 by the initiative of Reverend Nakano Yunosuke, based on his conviction that we will not achieve true happiness unless the world has a harmony between the material and spiritual. The human world needs both material and spiritual Just like a functional two-wheel car works well when the wheels on both sides move smoothly.
以来63年、オイスカは創設当初から土から離れないをスローガンとして掲げ、それぞれのふるさとの充実、発展を願って世界各国の業種の皆様と共に活動してまいりました。しかしながら地球規模での環境破壊はやむことなく、気候変動が原因の一つとも言われる自然災害も頻発し、私たちを取り巻く自然環境はますます厳しくなっております。
Since its establishment 63 years ago, OISCA has maintained its motto, not separated from the soil, and has worked with our fellow members and participants worldwide to strengthen and develop our furusato, or our homes. However, global environmental destruction has continued. Natural calamities have occurred frequently, probably caused by climate change. The natural environment surrounding us is becoming increasingly harsh.
そういう中で地球上のあらゆる生命の基盤を守り育てようとする世界の構築を目指すのであれば、やはりふるさとを守る、その共同体を強くするより他にありません。そのためにそこに住む人たちが現実を認識し、自覚してお互いに助け合い、自分たちの住むところを良くしていこうとする強い意志と行動が望まれます。
In the face of such a daunting challenge, our goal is to create a world that nurtures and protects the foundation for all life forms on Earth. To achieve this, people must stand up for and strengthen their communities. The only way forward is through the resilience of our neighborhoods. Community members need to confront reality, acknowledge all issues and circumstances, and actively support one another. It is essential that they take determined and cooperative action to improve their homes, our communities.
グローバル化する世界の中で効率化や便利さに目を奪われますと、ふるさと意識はいとも簡単に崩れます。健全なふるさとを守るためには、それらに負けない強靭な意志が必要です。つまり、それぞれのコミュニティでコミュニティを強化を図る意志と実践力、コミットメントが必要です。公の利益のために身を挺して取り組む姿勢と実践です。今日の激変する気候の前に誰かがやってくれるだろうとの甘えが許される時間はありません。
If captivated by dazzling efficiency and convenience in a growing society, their furusato or homes spirit could quickly vanish. To protect their wholesome communities, community members must have tenacity of purpose, with unswerving commitment and executive ability to strengthen each community. They must devote themselves to the tasks for the public interest, facing the rigorous climate change we experience today. Nobody can afford to be indulged in thinking that the task is someone else and waiting for others to deal with the mounting crisis.
オイスカは幸いに1991年より33年間、子どもの森計画の活動を行ってきました。学校を単位として子どもたちが木を植えて環境を守ることの大切さを学ぶことから始まりましたが、今ではそれは地域の人々をも巻き込んでの環境教育となり、コミュニティ強化活動に発展しています。子どもたちが植えた木が立派に成長した森となり、自然の恵みとなって大人も子どももその恩恵に良くするようになりました。だからみんなで力を合わせてコミュニティの森を作ろうという動きになってきております。
Fortunately, OISCA has implemented the Children's Forest Program for 33 years since 1991. It was started by involving schools, with school children planting trees and learning the importance of protecting the environment. It has gradually evolved into environmental education for communities, leading to initiatives to strengthen communities. Trees planted by children have grown to form groves, which bless adults and children. So adults started joining hands to create community forests.
コミュニティ強化とは、一人一人が自分たちのコミュニティの将来を考え、奉仕の精神で助け合い、共に働くことです。自分たちの将来、子供や孫の将来を考え、建設的な活動を実践することです。
A community build-up means members think about their community's future, work together, and help each other in a spirit of selfless service. They must get started in constructive work for their future and for the benefit of children and grandchildren who live in the coming ages.
ここで一つの事例をご紹介します。昨年、アフガニスタンから届いた子どもの森計画の活動報告からの引用です。
In Afghanistan, I want to show an example in CFP, the Children's Forest Program in Afghanistan.
そしてすみません。アフガニスタンではランドセルは海を越えての活動と連携して進めています。ランドセルというのは小学生が通学時に教科書、ノートなどを入れて背負うカバンのことです。
In Afghanistan, OISCA worked together with an NGO named School Backpacks Across the Ocean Initiative. They select schools and donate schools backpacks to elementary schools. The schools also participate in the OISCA Children's Forest Program.
子どもの森計画参加校10校のうち8校で大きな成果があった。果樹の苗木を植え、レモンの果実を収穫した。それを市場で売り、およそ日本円にして4万6,000円の収益を得た。この収益金を活用して学校で授業に使うチョークを自力で購入した。卒業式には子どもの親が参加した。この資金で学校の建物の補修も可能になる。親たちも非常に喜んだ。
8 out of 10 CFP schools achieved excellent results. They planted fruit trees and harvested lemon fruits. They sold it on the market and gained income equivalent to Japanese yen 46,000 yen. They used it to buy chalks they use in class. And they can repair their schools which is broken over the years.
学校の教師も CFP の具体的な成果に大きな関心を寄せている。教師や親の気持ちに変化が芽生えてきた。小さな成果ではあるが画期的である。自分たちの地道な努力でレモンの苗木を育て、収穫したレモンを市場で売って得た資金で学校の黒板を買った。将来は自分たちの力で壊れた学校の修繕を行いたい。自分たちの意思で使えるお金を手にする喜びを実感している。
School teachers and parents are very interested in the concrete results of the CFP. There has been a change in the feelings of teachers and parents. That was a small achievement, but epoch-making. Through the steady efforts, they grew lemon sapling and sold it at the market. With the money, they also bought blackboards for their schools. They plan to repair broken schools in the future. They are having the joy of money to spend on their schools.
そして最後に40年以上にわたり戦争と内戦で国土が荒廃して人の心も荒廃しているアフガニスタンでこのような 変化の意義は大きいと綴られていました。以上ですが、私はこの報告に勇気づけられる思いがして、アフガンの子供たち頑張れと心の中で叫んでいます。
Finally, the report remarks that in Afghanistan, where they have ravages of conflicts for more than 40 years, the people's hearts have been shattered. Such changes are of great significance. Having read this report, I shouted in my heart, "Good luck to Afghan children."
そして酸素を吐き出します。土壌を豊かにし、水をため、洪水を防ぎ、生物多様性にも貢献します。しかし、一方では気候変動のために熱波が襲い、恐ろしい乾燥の中で山火事が各地で発生し、あっという間に何千ヘクタールの森林が消失することもあります。それを目の当たりにしたとき、自分たちの小さな植林が何の役に立つのかと無力感に襲われるかもしれません。だからこそ防災にも関心を持ち、皆で力を合わせて森を守る努力が必要なのです。
Such initiatives must benefit the world as the trees planted will absorb carbon dioxide, emit oxygen. Forests create rich soils, store water, prevent floods, and build biodiversity. On the other hand, climate change causes heat waves and terrible droughts set off forest conflagrations, which often instantly devastate thousands of hectares of forest. In the face of such calamities, some people may feel powerlessness. However, precisely for that reason, everyone must be conscious of measures to prevent the effects of a disaster. They must exert a concerted effort to protect forests.
とはいえ、森を守っていれば生きていけるかといえばそうでもありません。生きていく上で必要なものを作り出すことも考えなければなりません。衣食住を賄うためにもできる限り自分たちで生産し消費する産業が大事になります。それもコミュニティ強化の一つの分野です。
Nonetheless, only protecting forests would not be sufficient as a means to live. One must think about producing the necessities of life. We need sangyo to satisfy the clothes, food, and housing requirements, the production and consumption for themselves. That is one inevitable component of community strength.
1966年5月、インドに派遣された農業開発団たちの行動を記録した不藤教授による手記があります。参考に紹介します。これは半世紀以上も前の物語です。
I want to introduce a note that recorded the activities of the OISCA's Agricultural Development Team dispatched to India in May 1965. This is the story of more than half a century ago.
オイスカが掲げる産業開発は人々の食生活を守るために農業、林業、漁業の振興に重点が置かれている。自助自立を確立するために共に手を携えて行動することを基本姿勢としている。
Agricultural development advocated by OISCA emphasized the promotion of agriculture, forestry, and fisheries to satisfy food requirements of people. Its objective is to help people become self-reliant, and their principle is that all people work hand in hand to achieve that.
開発団員たちは田畑や作業場で地元の農民や州政府役人たちと共に働きながらいろいろな農業技術の実演を行った。彼らが指導する農業技術は州内の零細農家にも受け入れられるものであった。田畑や家庭から出た有機物や廃棄物を堆肥として再利用し、それを田畑にまくことによって収量を上げる。自然に近い農法は持続可能なものであり、 零細農家が生活の糧を得るのに十分であった。そして脱穀した後の稲わらでカゴ、縄を編むなど手元にある原材料に付加価値をつけて生活の糧を向上させる。これらはいわば家族ベンチャー事業化にもつながる活動であったと記されています。
The team members worked with local farmers and government officials in farms and offices. They demonstrated their agricultural technologies. Their way of farming was suitable for small farmers. Organic materials or waste from farms and kitchens are made into compost, which nourishes farm fields to raise productivity. Their method, close to natural circulation, is sustainable and sufficient for petty farmers to obtain subsistence. Grass straws after threshing are used to make baskets and ropes, which could be an additional source of income by adding value. We might call it a path to family venture.
IT や AI など科学技術の進歩は目まぐるしく発展していますが、こうした基本的な考えを精神性を持った私たち人間は決して失ってはなりません。精神と物質が車の両輪のごとく調和した世の中でなければ真の幸せはないということを心に留めておきたいと思います。
The world now makes dazzling progress in science and technology, including IT and AI. Still, as we humans have spirituality, we must maintain sight of such a fundamental attitude as said above. We must never forget we have no genuine happiness unless we embrace the culture of harmony between the material and spiritual, like a two-wheel cart with two well-functioning wheels.
厳しさを増す社会環境の中でいつまでもこの同じ地球で生きていくために、私は子どもの森計画の活動をより一層活発化していきたいと考えております。アフガニスタンの子どもたちが希望を持てるようになったように、恵まれない環境の子どもたちにも各々の方法で明るく生きていけるように。
For everyone to live on earth forever despite the increasingly severe social environment, I think the Children's Forest Program must spread and reach all corners. Like children in Afghanistan successfully produced some products from their forests and get some incomes.
地球上のあらゆる生命の基盤を守り育てようとする世界の構築を目指して活動しているOISCAです。それを